Hi everyone. Welcome back to Everyday English Together. Today, we are going to learn English through news. By connecting English to real-life topics, you will not only pick up new language, but also get a better understanding of the world around you. Let's get started and improve English together.
Good evening. Today, a new study finds that global warming in the United States is fueling Americans' sweet tooth, particularly when temperatures climb. Researchers report that men drink more sugary soft drinks during heat spikes, while the general population also consumes slightly more frozen desserts. The study, conducted by teams in the US and UK, estimates that rising temperatures lead to more than 100 million pounds, 358 million kilograms of added sugar consumed nationwide each year compared to 15 years ago. The researchers found that when temperatures range between 54 and 86 degrees Fahrenheit, 12 to 30 degrees Celsius, the average American consumes about 0.4 grams of additional sugar per degree Fahrenheit, 0.7 grams per degree Celsius per day. At 54 degrees, the average daily added sugar intake is just over 2 grams, while at 86 degrees it rises above 15 grams. Beyond that temperature range, appetites decline and sugar intake falls. The study reports in Nature climate change. Climate change is shaping what you eat and how you eat, and that might have a negative effect on your health, said Duo Chan, a climate scientist at the University of Southampton and co-author of the study. People tend to take in more sweetened beverages as the temperature rises. Under a warming climate, that means higher sugar consumption, which could become a severe health problem. Even small increases matter while the daily rise in sugar intake may not even equal a single candy bar. Its cumulative effect is significant, according to Dr. Robert Lustig, an endocrinology professor at the University of California, San Francisco, who was not involved in the study. Among poorer Americans, just one extra can of sugary soda per day increases diabetes risk by 29%. Lustig wrote in an email, noting that temperature-driven thirst contributes substantially to obesity in the U.S. since 1895. The U.S. average annual temperature has risen about 2.2 degrees Fahrenheit, 1.2 degrees Celsius, according to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. To quantify sugar consumption changes, researchers compared them with American Heart Association guidelines, which recommend daily limits of 36 grams for men and 25 grams for women. The team analyzed weather data including wind, precipitation, and humidity and matched it with detailed purchase records from 40,000 to 60,000 U.S. households between 2004 and 2019, excluding pandemic-era data. Nutritional information from purchased items allowed researchers to isolate the effect of temperature on sugar intake from a nutrition and environmental science perspective. Observing that Americans tend to grab sugary soda when thirsty is concerning, said lead author Pan He, an environmental scientist at Cardiff University. Sugar intake varies by demographics. The study found that men consume more sugary drinks than women, and that low and very low-income families see several times higher increases in added sugar during hot weather. Compared with wealthier households, people working outdoors consumed more sugary beverages, as did households headed by less educated individuals. White Americans showed the highest increase in sugar intake during heat, while Asians showed no significant change. Sugary drinks are often marketed and priced to appeal to lower-income communities, where tap water may taste unpleasant due to chemicals, Lustig and he noted. Additionally, households with lower income or less access to air conditioning tend to spend more time outside, requiring more hydration. It's concerning that climate-related impacts are greater among lower-income or less educated households, said Dr. Courtney Howard, vice chair of the Global Climate and Health Alliance, who was not involved in the study. These populations often have poorer baseline health, so climate change appears to magnify existing health inequalities. Chan warned that sugar consumption is likely to rise further as the planet warms. However, Christy Eby, a health and climate scientist at the University of Washington who was not part of the research, cautioned that, as temperatures increase due to human-caused climate change, there will be other issues more urgent than a small uptick in sugary beverage consumption. Thank you for joining us. I'm Catherine. Now John is ready to bring you the next story.
Thank you, Catherine, for that report. Good evening, everyone. We turn our attention to Asia, where a wave of youth-led protests is challenging governments and demanding change. From Nepal to Indonesia, Gen Z protesters are speaking out against corruption, unemployment, and economic inequality. Though the protests in Nepal and Indonesia are more than 2,000 miles apart, they share a key feature: leadership by Gen Z, those born between 1997 and 2012. In both countries, people under 30 make up about half the population. But the triggers were different. In Nepal, protests began over a social media ban. In Indonesia, anger erupted over lavish perks for government officials. Yet the underlying cause is the same: young people frustrated by a lack of jobs, rampant corruption, and rising inequality. Young people are being pushed into insecure types of employment, even those with education, said Vedi Hadiz, a professor of Asian Studies at the University of Melbourne. They feel unprotected and that their futures are uncertain. Last year, nearly 14% of Indonesians aged 15 to 24 were unemployed. In Nepal, the figure reached 20%, prompting many to seek work in India and the Middle East. Added economic pressures, including tariffs imposed by former U.S. President Donald Trump, 19% on Indonesia and 10% on Nepal alone, fueled concerns. The goal is more transparency in government, and for long-standing politicians who have done little to step down, making way for new leaders who work for the people, said Sahaj Srisaha, 28, an IT security analyst who protested in Kathmandu. In Kathmandu, 35-year-old Mayor Balendra Shah, a former rapper and social media influencer, has become a symbol for young protesters. While he did not join the demonstrations, he emphasized the importance of listening to the youth. Following Prime Minister K.P. Sharma Oli's resignation, he called on young people to take the lead. Now your generation will have to lead the country. Be prepared. The protests have turned deadly. In Nepal, where demonstrators set fire to government buildings and political leaders' homes, at least 72 people have died. In Indonesia, 5 days of protests claimed 10 lives. Governments in both countries have responded with changes. Nepal's former Prime Minister Ali was replaced by former Supreme Court Chief Justice Sushila Karki, the country's first female leader, serving in an interim capacity ahead of March elections. In Indonesia, President Prabowo Subianto rolled back government perks and dismissed 5 ministers, including those in finance and security. Authorities pledged to crack down on violence, but strong-arm tactics often backfired, spreading protest videos widely on social media. In Indonesia, anger escalated after 21-year-old delivery rider Afan Kurniawan was reportedly killed by an armored police vehicle while on duty. The video of his death galvanized public outrage. People started posting online, criticizing the police and the government. Even those who usually stay silent expressed anger after seeing that video, said Christina Partiwi, adjunct anthropology lecturer at the University of Indonesia. High school students also showed support for the protests. Gen Z is often called an impatient generation, wanting progress faster than previous generations. According to Pukar Hamal, a cybersecurity entrepreneur with a Gen Z workforce, young people compare society globally, looking at places like Singapore, Dubai, the US, and Hong Kong, and feel the connection between effort and progress is broken. In Nepal, resentment is also directed at Nepo kids, children of powerful politicians or wealthy elites who flaunt privilege on social media. Hamal noted, seeing others advance due to family connections rather than hard work breeds resentment. From Kathmandu to Jakarta, Gen Z protesters are reshaping political debates and forcing governments to act. Their demands for transparency, fairness, and opportunity signal a new era of youth-led activism across Asia. Thank you for watching today.
Awesome job. You made it through 2 news stories today, and that's something to be proud of. The great thing about learning English through the news is that it usually covers a wide range of topics: politics, economy, culture, the environment, and so much more. By listening to these stories, you're not only expanding your vocabulary but also improving your listening skills at the same time. Also, the best part is, you're keeping up with what's happening in the world while practicing English. I hope you enjoyed studying with me today, and feel free to leave a comment if there are any news topics you'd like me to cover. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.